with Annabelle Hudson.
Hello and welcome. In complete contrast to last year's Anzac Day commemorations, residents across the region were able to venture beyond their driveways at dawn and later in the day to participate in COVID-safe remembrance ceremonies this year. While the Anzac Day format has changed to suit a world still gripped by pandemic, the pride in our ANZACs is as strong as ever, as shown by good crowd numbers.
After adapting to the COVID way of life in 2020 in order to celebrate Anzac Day, 1 year on, how we remember the Anzacs felt a little more familiar.
To see such a turn up after last year was really good. This morning, I'd say there was about 2,000 people at the dawn service, and we saw the gathering of today. Really good.
Servicemen and women from all branches of the armed forces, as well as emergency services, were represented in the Anzac Day March. Diggers, despite the advancing years slowing things down, still showed a real spring in their step as they shared their day with a grateful community, gathering with old friends and family to remember those who served and remembering those who made the ultimate sacrifice. Among those gathered, the names of those from Dubbo who enlisted and didn't come home.
In these books of remembrance are the names of those gallant men and women who, having enlisted from Dubbo, died in the service of their country in all wars.
2021 also marks the centenary of the Royal Australian Air Force, so it was appropriate Squadron Leader David Mann, himself a Dubbo local, recounted the heroic World War II service of a local pilot who served in Allied Bomber Command over the skies of Europe.
Pilot Officer Middleton was the first member of the Royal Australian Air Force to be awarded the Victoria Cross, the highest military award in the British Empire.
It was a similar scene in Wellington during Anzac Day, where hundreds of people from the town and outlying area gathered in Cameron Park in front of a beautifully restored Winged Victory for a number of services from sunrise to sunset. To our service personnel, past and present, thank you.
They shall not grow old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemned. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. Lest we forget.
More than a century after being killed in action in the First World War, the unmarked grave of Private Thomas Cohen was identified. 102 years after his death, Cohen's family and locals in Stuart Town now have closure, gathering to remember the life of the fitter's assistant turned soldier who gave the ultimate sacrifice.
A skirl of bagpipes cut through a quiet Stuart Town morning. The pipe band marching in honour of an unknown soldier, now with a name.
This seems something of a miracle.
For 102 years, the body of Private Thomas Cohen from the 2nd Battalion of Stuart Town lay buried in France in an unknown grave.
The only thing we really knew was that our grandfather had died in World War I.
Private Cohen was killed in action in September 1918 in the last 100 Days campaign in northern France, less than 2 months before the end of the Great War. He was 37 years old. Thanks to the work of the Fallen Diggers Incorporated, the Australian Army and the Commonwealth Graves Commission, the body of Private Thomas Cohen was located and identified in November last year.
I was absolutely astonished, and I immediately grabbed the phone and rang Lieutenant Colonel Dorr in Canberra and said, "I'm the granddaughter of Thomas Cohen. How can this be?"
Relatives, locals and dignitaries gathered in Stuart Town on the 17th of April to remember Cohen. Unveiling a bronze plaque in honour of the Muckawa man.
The Army will replace the headstone that says "Known unto God" with his name and his date of birth and date of death, a proper ending to his life.
Sinead Fogarty, DRC News.
As part of the rates harmonisation process, Council has a rates calculator available on its website, active from today. The rates harmonisation process is a requirement of all amalgamated councils to ensure all residents have access to fair and equitable rates across the region. Rate-paying residents will be able to use the calculator as a guide to see how much their rates are increasing or decreasing. All residents need to access the calculator is their assessment number, which can be located on their rates notice.
So I understand there's quite a lot of confusion through the rates harmonisation process and what impact this will have for ratepayers. So as I said, it's an online calculator, an online tool that gives ratepayers the ability to see an estimate of what next year's rates are going to be.
It's important to note that although some residents may notice a change in their rating category, it does not affect their zoning in terms of planning abilities, nor does it affect their access to water, waste or other council infrastructure. The rates harmonisation process is occurring at the same time the budget for the 2021 and 2022 financial year is on display. To view this year's budget and have your say, visit Council's website or one of our customer experience centres. Aboriginal, female and ethnically diverse candidates are being urged to put their name forward in this year's local government elections. With women making up only about 1/3 of councillors across the country, a workshop run by Women for Election Australia is coming to Dubbo on May 1st to empower more women to become local leaders.
This September, you could have a seat in the council chambers and a say in the future of your community.
The local government election is on September 4 this year, so 10 councillors will be elected from the 5 wards that make up the Dubbo region.
With local government elections less than 5 months away, all residents are being encouraged to consider throwing their hat in the ring and running for council.
It's so important that we have a range of candidates who represent the community in terms of race, ethnicity, gender, all those things that is so important to making up a diverse council that represents all the perspectives of the community.
Nominations will open on the 26th of July and close on August 4th. For more information, people can go to dubbo.nsw.gov.au/local government elections.
I would encourage anyone who is thinking about contesting the election to get in touch with the councillors, because I think the councillors, all of them, will happily give you a perspective on what local government involves.
Sinead Fogarty, DRC News.
This weekend marks the start of the annual Household Chemical Clean-Out, a program run by NetWaste, the EPA and Dubbo Regional Council. Now's the time to look at some of those household chemicals that have been sitting in the shed for years and consider disposing of them in the right way.
Inside garden sheds across the Dubbo region, there's sure to be thousands of litres of chemicals just like this. Many sitting unused for months, if not years, and no longer usable for the garden or in the home. Residents are being encouraged to dispose of them in this year's Household Chemical Clean-Out.
The household chemical clean-out's designed for people to be able to bring out things like their old pool chemicals, household chemicals, cleaning products, pesticides, herbicides, those sorts of things that you can't bring to the landfill either at Dubbo or at Wellington.
Running on Saturday the 1st of May in Dubbo and Monday the 3rd of May in Wellington, household chemicals in vessels of no more than 20 litres or 20 kilos will be accepted as part of the clean-out.
As the name says, it's a household chemical clean-out, so it's restricted to households and to household quantities of chemicals. So commercial quantities won't be accepted.
While the Wylandra Community Recycling Centre does accept some items like oils and car batteries, most household chemicals aren't accepted there, which is why they should be taken to this year's chemical clean-out instead.
Households these days have an awful lot of chemicals and various materials they use for cleaning and for our everyday lives. And a lot of them react very badly with the environment and vegetation and other materials that might be down our drains and toilets.
When transporting your chemicals to the drop-off points, there are some important things to remember in order to keep safe.
Look, it's certainly advised don't have it in the passenger cab of your vehicle, keep it in the boot, have them in a secondary container if you're not sure how secure they are or what they are. Make sure they don't leak within the boot.
Drop-off in Dubbo is available at the Hawthorne Street Depot between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. this Saturday, and Wellington residents will be able to dispose of their chemicals on Monday, May 3 at the Wellington Waste Facility between the hours of 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. Andrew Parsons, DRC News.
NRL excitement has hit fever pitch in the region with red and green decorations popping up in shop fronts and local streets. 2 local musicians have also won a competition run by Dubbo Regional Council that will not only give them access to the game, but gives them a stage to perform in front of hundreds of people.
Hey-yo, 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 hey-yo. I like the way you work it, no digging.
Katie Thorne and Isaac Compton have always been competitive, so when it came to winning a chance to perform at the Mars marquee function area, the battle was on.
It was good. I enjoy the competition actually. It's great for the local artists because not a lot of these opportunities come around, but it's also good for the Dubbo community to get stuff like this out here.
Dubbo Regional Council ran a competition calling local musos to submit a video of themselves singing. The person with the most likes on that video would win the paid gig plus tickets to the game.
It's going to be really exciting to get to share my music with like a wider audience.
Isaac was out in front, but Katie came in at the last minute, beating Isaac by just 19 votes. She decided, though, that she wanted to share her win with Isaac.
I love collaborating with Isaac. We've played together a couple of times and I just thought it'd be a really good opportunity to play together, share the stage, and he's helped me out a lot in the past, always been a big supporter of my music.
The two have been getting together to figure out their set lists. So if you want to catch them in action, they'll be performing live at the Mars marquee function area before the start of the game.
Better bag it up.
We out.
Meanwhile, the region is being urged to get involved in the Festival of Footy, decorating their home or business in celebration of the game. Local business Inspiration Paints wasted no time getting involved, asking council if it was possible to paint the rhino at Apex Oval.
When I heard South Sydney were coming to town, obviously being a South fan, I was very keen to get involved. Dulux and Dubbo Council have a great relationship. So I put my hand out to offer any help I could do.
Zach donated his time and the paint to decorate the rhino because he just loves the Rabbitohs that much. Kelsey Galea, DRC News.
That's all for this episode of DRC News. If you have a story you'd like to share with us, contact us by email or look us up on Facebook. Thanks for watching.